Ontarians can now make legal online gambling bets with private companies. The province is the first jurisdiction in Canada to allow this under what is being called an iGaming market. The CBC's Scott Peterson has more.
As of today, Ontario residents can now make bets with private online companies, and this could include any type of bets from casino games, sport events, online gambling, using online websites and smartphone applications run by these private for-profit companies. And this is the first jurisdiction in Canada to use private companies, allowing them to have Canadians bet on them. Now, as of Friday, there was 25 registered private companies. Not all of them are expected to be up and running today, perhaps anywhere between 12 and 15 out there. Now, Ontarians had been able to bet online since about August, but that was done through the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Commission and using foreign websites. So this will be the first time that Ontarians will be able to use a sort of a homegrown private websites, if you will. Now, iGaming will be run through the Ontario government, through the Ontario Gaming Commission of Ontario. There is some concern about a loss of revenue for the Ontario government. For example, bricks and mortars casinos are taxed at about a 55% tax rate versus these new private companies now only going to be taxed at a 20%. So there's some estimates that the Ontario government is set to lose about $550 million per year on lost revenue. But nonetheless, anyone in Ontario over the age of 19 today can start betting on these private sites.
Some experts are concerned that the increased access to online gambling could lead to more gambling addictions in Ontario. Here for that discussion is Nigel Turner. He's a gambling addictions expert and an independent scientist at the Institute for Mental Health Policy Research at CAMH in Toronto. Welcome to the Rundown. Thank you for taking the time, Nigel. How does Ontario's new online gaming market change the gambling landscape?
Well, it's always been available for the past 20 years. You could gamble online. So the primary difference is that now it is legal and regulated. Now there's some positive and some negative aspects to that. On the negative side, it means that you've legitimized online gambling, which likely will cause an increase in the number of people who are going online and gambling. And that has the potential to have increase the number of people with gambling-related problems. On the positive side, it will now be regulated. As I said, people have been able to do this, have been gambling online for the past 20 years. It's not been regulated. There's been no checks to make sure that the helpline information is available on these sites. There's nothing that requires these sites that are, external commercial venues to provide helpline information, for example, or treatment information. Now, some of these sites do have helpline information, but it's not tailored to Canada. Like, for example, venues that operate out of Malta have information for the United Kingdom on helpline information and treatment services, but not for nothing related to Ontario.
So that would obviously be something to address. But you say that it could lead to an increase in the number of overall gamblers, but is online gaming more addictive than in-person gambling?
It's more addictive than, or more problematic than some forms of gaming, but still the number one type of gambling that people have problems with are slot machines or electronic gambling machines more generally, which includes slot machines and video lottery terminals. And that's true in Canada. It's also true in the United Kingdom, which has had online gambling legally available and regulated for some time now. So I don't see that changing, but online gambling is likely to increase its percentage of the Canadian market considerably. In fact, that's already happened. Since COVID, the relative number of people gambling online versus offline has increased dramatically. In fact, right now, last month in Ontario, more people who called the helpline were calling related to online gambling than for live casino gambling. So that's already shifted considerably.
Interesting. Okay, Nigel, thank you. Nigel Turner is an independent scientist at the Institute for Mental Health Policy Research at CAMH in Toronto.